Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and this video is going to be a lot of fun for multiple reasons, frankly, but not the least of which is the fact that I'm going to enjoy highlighting multiple crypto media articles that are complete and utter nonsense, or they're covering perspectives from subjects that have complete and utter nonsense opinions. For example, here's one that I'll get to later in the video. Crypto founder highlights new reason to dislike XRP. Can you guess what it is? Do you think it's gonna be rational or completely irrational? Spoiler alert, completely irrational. There's all sorts of stuff. It's just you gotta be careful who you listen to. Like, there's some people that they do not have your best interest in mind. Just think for yourselves, folks. But I also want to share with you perspective from a number of individuals, including one XRP community member who has been in crypto practically since the beginning, since 2011. And he's got some sage wisdom that I think you're going to want to hear. Because the fact of the matter is that the smart XRP holders out there, they bet against sentiment, which is to say, whatever the typical lemming retail speculators are doing, even just doing the opposite across the board, that's typically going to serve you pretty well. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, and just for fun, damn it. And if you don't like it, well, you can just get out. Now, as I recorded this video, people very scared right now. XRP down to 53 cents, Bitcoin at 54,658 bucks. All sorts of people saying the sky is falling. My gosh, this is it. Bitcoin's going to 40,000, maybe even 35,000. Who knows? Why stop there, though, right? It's like the 12 cares from January of 2023 all over again. As the market hit the actual bottom, people said, no, it's going lower. Remember Capo, anybody? I'm sure some of you do. But this type of sentiment, does it make sense to just jump in with the rest of the crowd and get all crazy about it and all panicky and sell? Well, look, you guys do whatever you want, but I'm going to share with you some perspective from XRP community member Frecky, who actually works in finance for a career, and he has been in crypto since 2011. He's been around in the XRP community forever. And he shared some posts that I think are sage wisdom. I think you're going to want to hear the perspective from somebody that works in finance and has been around for a very long time in the world of crypto. Again, almost since the beginning. That's exceedingly rare. And so here's what he wrote just the other day. If I sold over the years every time there was emotional short-term bear sentiment, black swans, news events, which most are recycled, I would be a brokey today. Meaning, of course, no money. He would not have money. He says, thankfully, I've consistently bet against retail sentiment. Onward. Now, I know it sounds simple, but the truth of the matter is, what's easiest to the typical lemming retail speculators to see the panic when they hop on social media platform X and then start acting like the rest of the other chickens with their heads cut off, basically. Which is kind of what he points out right here. Frecky also shared in a separate post the following. The thing you will learn about crypto sentiment, especially on X, formerly known as Twitter, is it blows with the wind. X is mainly retail, and with that comes extreme emotions due to short-term price action. Always the case. Sentiment will also flip bullish quickly and back, again and again, on the way up. And so I'll pause and note, that is absolutely true. So I've been around in crypto since, as many of you know, since late 2017. My God, sentiment changes quickly. It's just like this whipsaw back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, whatever's happened. And it can be long periods of time before it flips. But then when it flips, it's like snap of a finger a lot of the times. A lot of the times, anyway. You gotta be really careful. And it's so easy to buy into all of the negative sentiment that you see on X right now and just think, well, there must be something to it. But so many people did that in January of 2023 and they were sidelined. How'd that do for them? Did that turn out well? Because my God, crypto is way higher across the board compared to then. And I don't believe that at this moment, when there's proof that whales are purchasing all sorts of different cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, XRP, you name it. And then at this moment where, can you imagine the whales getting wrong-footed? And then also we've seen this consolidation for a good half year roughly. And so this would be, if this is the bear cycle, so this is different than every single cycle before it. Rather than Bitcoin after running up precipitously crashing down to some massive degree, it just hangs out sideways for half a year. That's a little bit different. There's a lot of peculiarities. Couldn't it just be that perhaps September is historically like the worst month for Bitcoin and the stock market? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a little bit more simple than people are making it out to be. That would be my guess. There was also this post, too, so check this out, and this is interesting. I actually mentioned this within the last week or so. It was kind of like a throwaway comment, and I didn't have data in front of me. I just kind of mentioned it. But Frecky also shared this, because some people are wondering, okay, is it going to matter as far as the bull run for crypto? And you could even, in this case, he's specifically highlighting the stock market, but the markets move in tandem. People have been asking, does it matter who gets elected in the United States? Is that going to impact what happens with crypto prices? And I said, if you look at historic precedent, there's not really good argument to say that, yes, it's actually going to matter if you have a Democrat president or a Republican president. And I don't think it's going to differ anymore here. And so Frecky shared this, a screen grab from Fidelity, which reads as follows: markets are nonpartisan. Although popular myths sometimes suggest that one party or the other is better for market returns, the historical data does not bear out these theories. Markets are nonpartisan, so it's very important not to base your investment strategy on the outcome of elections. The S&P 500 has historically averaged positive returns under nearly every partisan combination, as the chart below shows. And in fact, there's some evidence that divided government has historically correlated with stronger market returns, perhaps because government gridlock creates less policy uncertainty. So I think that's spot on, because I actually looked at the chart before I even read that, and when I saw that the returns were highest when you had a divided Congress, House and Senate. When I saw it was highest, regardless of whether there was a Republican president or a Democrat president, I was like, oh, that's probably because there's gridlock. So, there's less chance that something's going to change with that gridlock. And that's what they said right there. I was like, yeah, exactly. That makes a ton of sense. So take it for what it's worth here. I just don't think that it's going to ultimately matter. And so Frecky wrote about this. Always study using real data professionals use. Remove the noise and emotion. Also, professionals like myself love gridlock. It's great for markets. You are here to learn. I post free alpha to educate yourself and stay away from regular X post and media. Spot on. And like I say, and you'll see why, I'm going to circle back to why it's important to be careful who you listen to. There are all sorts of people who are going to hype you up and get you all excited. And look, I think that there's good reason to be excited. Don't get me wrong. I've never been this optimistic and excited as an XRP holder and just to be in crypto in general. But there are some people who are so just completely irrationally, unforgivably over the top that I can only imagine that they are Looney Tunes, or they know that they're doing something and saying things that aren't true. I can't imagine it's something other than that. Take a look at this post. This is from Seth Golden. Now, Seth Golden is a hedge fund consultant and chief market strategist at Finum Group. And the chart that's on your screen, I find this fascinating because some people are saying it's fallen off a cliff. The reason that the stock market's doing what it's doing, crypto's doing what it's doing, it's recession time. Everything's going to go down. We're in a recession, and the markets are going to crater, and that's that. And so here's this post showing a chart that says weekly bankruptcy filings. And it's showing the 4-week moving average and the 12-week moving average of weekly bankruptcy filings. And here's what Seth wrote. Not typically what you see going into or already in a recession. Weekly bankruptcy filings, 4 and 12-week moving averages, plunging. Strong like bull. And you can see it on the screen here. Look at where we are right now. They're plunging, so take it for what it's worth. It's one piece of data, but put everything together. Perhaps it's the case, given that that's plunging. If you're seeing that the market is down, might it be, like I said earlier in this video, and I've been talking about this a lot lately because I want to make sure as many people as possible are aware of this. September is the worst month historically for stocks, and it's horrible for Bitcoin historically. It just is. And we can debate what those reasons are if we want to, but either way, it's just data, and it's just true. And I understand, of course, that the economy itself in recession, it differs from what happens in the market. For example, the most obvious example is when we had the market, the economy just falling apart with the COVID stuff that happened back in 2020. There was still lots of money sloshing around, and the market did take a dip, but man, it ended up rocketing. It's fascinating. The economy can be doing one thing, and then the stock market just goes up. It is fascinating. So I understand that there can be a bit of difference, but ultimately, what ultimately happens, I mean, even if there's a lag, if there's a recession, the market's eventually going to figure that out. But there's also this post. Let me show you this is from TechDev. I'm a big fan of TechDev. Been following him for a long time. 467,000 followers. Sometimes a man of few words, and in this case, no words. He just shared the post on the screen, and this is fascinating. So, for those of you looking at, you're probably going to recognize or seen some sort of variant of what he has on the top here. It's basically the psychology of a market cycle. I mean, you guys have all seen that before if you've been here for more than 5 minutes in the world of crypto. And so that's what he's sharing right here. And then he's got the price of Bitcoin overlaid on top of it. Now, what he has on the bottom is pretty interesting as well, because what's on the bottom he's clearly showing correlates with the actual price action of Bitcoin and where he believes we are in the cycle. So he thinks that we're in the bear trap. And this is going to make more sense for those of you that are able to look at the screen right now. But what comes after that ultimately leads to euphoria. So he firmly believes that the best is yet ahead. And this is one of the guys that I would argue gets it. I mean, his pinned post on X right now highlights that the reason for market cycles, it's liquidity. And it's always been liquidity. It's not the halving. This guy does get that. And so on the bottom here, he has what's labeled as the NUPL with heat map Bitcoin. And so the NUPL is the net unrealized profit / loss. And it represents investor sentiment and shows what Bitcoin holders would gain or lose if they sold now. So you can have I'm sure you guys are familiar with the concept. You can have an unrealized profit. So say you bought something and it goes up in price and you haven't sold it. You're in profit, but it's an unrealized profit because you haven't sold it. And then on the flip side, you could buy something, price goes down, and you haven't sold it, so you haven't realized the profit. It's an unrealized profit. And so TechDev, he took the NUPL and threw it over a heat map, which shows market sentiment. And that's interesting. And they line up as expected. If people are at a loss, then they're more fearful, of course. None of this is a surprise. And so the sentiment here and what you're seeing, it lines up with where he, anyway, is arguing that we are in the market cycle from a psychological perspective. And even from a price perspective, he's saying it's a bear trap. That's very clear. He didn't write any words, but if you analyze what's on the screen here, I don't know how you can come to any other rational conclusion. That's what he's saying here. And I appreciate, he's a very data-driven individual. So take it for what it's worth. But that's why I was saying at the outset of the video, the smart XRP holders bet against whatever the sentiment is. And I mean, it sounds simple, but there's a reason that the typical lemming retail speculators get wrong-footed. There's a reason that when they sell, the whales are buying. And that's what we've been seeing recently, isn't it? There's on-chain data to prove that, in fact. It's indisputable. And so I'm not telling you, you do whatever you want. It's not financial advice because I'd never want to be responsible for that. And I don't know your situation, so it would be stupid for me to advise you, even if I wanted to, but I will not. And then there's all sorts of silly nonsense always happening. Oh, thank you, crypto media outlets. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Crypto founder highlights new reason to dislike XRP. Oh my God. So they're covering perspective from Joshua Jake. This guy, my God, he irrationally, he has XRP derangement syndrome. He hates XRP. It's very clear. Because reasons, folks. Because reasons. It's just a decentralized cryptocurrency with an open market price. Everybody needs to chill on this. But nonetheless, he hates it. It's this guy right here, the CEO of Discover Crypto. Now, it's kind of noteworthy because he's running what I believe is the world's second largest cryptocurrency YouTube channel, at least by subscriber count. Now, the reason it's got the massive following it does, which I think it's maybe a little shy of 1.5 million subscribers, is because it used to be BitBoy Crypto, and then it was rebranded as Discover Crypto after BitBoy Crypto, aka Ben Armstrong, ended up leaving because they had the fallout. And I'm sure many of you are aware of that. If you're not aware of it, then if you're curious, go ahead and Google that. All sorts of articles about it. And then after that, the views dropped precipitously. It's just like a shell of its former self, even though they retained a lot of the subscribers here. And he's done some other stuff too. But what he's saying is another reason to dislike XRP. It's because Chris Larson, and I reported on this the other day, it's because Chris Larson endorsed incumbent VP Kamala Harris to be become the next president of the United States. Look, I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. You can think whatever you want. I already ripped this to shreds, and I don't want to go through everything again. But I see this, and I just think it's so absurd that I couldn't help but comment on this. I cannot help my little Moon Lambo self. This is stupid. This is irrational, childish thinking. Sell your XRP because a co-founder of Ripple happens to disagree with you politically. I mean, look, and I understand that it's if Kamala's in charge, trust me, I get it. Not good for crypto. But did you know that Ripple, the company, which Chris Larson is not Ripple, but Ripple, the company, they donated $1 million to John Deaton's super PAC to support him? Did you know Ripple did that? Did you know that Stuart Alderoty, Ripple's chief legal officer, donated like over 600,000 XRP worth over $300,000 to support Trump? Did you know that? I mean, I highlighted that when that happened. So you're going to find that in a company that's as big as Ripple, people from the top to the bottom are going to have various political opinions and allocate funds and endorse accordingly. So what? This has nothing to do with XRP. How get it through your thick skulls? People, like, my God, I know most of you get it. You guys listen, I'm sure you get it. This has nothing to do with XRP. I see people saying dislike XRP because of this. Okay, does that mean that we like XRP because Ripple donated $1 million? So does it like cancel it out? How does this work mathematically? Can you explain that to me? Or are we just going to highlight this part because you want to say bad crap about XRP? Really burns my biscuits, folks. It's the complete lack of rationality and reason that bothers me. And it's not just that, it's an outright attack on the entire XRP community and ecosystem for irrational reasons. I mean, this goes back over a decade. Back to the earliest days when Bitcoiners they were paying people to state that XRP was a scam. They were literally paying people to state that. I kid you not. In the earliest of days, that would have been either 2013, I think 2013 could have been 2014. I'd have to go look it up, but that literally happened. People were being paid to lie about XRP. Absolute insanity. And so a lot of that has flowed through to today, and we're still seeing it. Completely absurd. And then we get headlines like this, and this is why I'm saying, like, you got to be careful who you listen to here. Like, I'm mostly concerned for people that are brand new, but these wacky ass predictions and expectations for XRP price. My God, look at this from the Crypto Basic. Projected timelines for XRP: 44,463% rise to $250 and 62,288% rise to $350. Oh, God. The bane of my existence. This seriously steams my vegetables. Like, and I can understand how if you're new and you just don't know any better, you could fall for this, and I'm sympathetic to that. Because it is true that XRP in the past, from the 2017 market cycle, it did rise from the bottom to the top about 80,000%. And so you're thinking, oh, well, this is like half that then, right? Around 44,000%. They could do that again. No, that's because there was way less money in it, and it was worth about half a penny when that cycle started. No, it cannot happen again. Certainly not in one go. I'm not saying you couldn't have 3-digit XRP one day, way into the future, and I'm not predicting that's going to happen. I'm just saying there's more than enough money in existence on the planet to get the prices bid up that pie. I absolutely acknowledge that. I don't know if it's ever going to happen or how long it would take. I'm not even going to play that game. I don't do predictions. But this type of crap it's just like, it's embarrassing. Like, anybody propagating this should feel embarrassed. That's how I feel. Like, it is that absurd. And here's another one. Look at this. Here's another one from the Crypto Basic. XRP fair market value stands at $4,813 per Anthony and Michnik model. And it's just, God. You guys remember the model, right? And Susan Athey, Robbie Michnik, they created this model, and it would have been back in 2018, I want to say. And they even acknowledged, like, no model actually is correct. They even put this towards the beginning part, but some models are useful, something to that effect. And under certain parameters, they were saying over a span of X number of years, which we're actually probably quickly approaching at this point, on the high end, maybe XRP could get as high as like $8 and change or something like that. And then they take what they claim to be the model and extrapolate out a bunch of nonsense and say that the fair market value stands at, per this model, $4,813. It's a complete bastardization of what was actually stated in the paper in the first place. And this is coming from Valhill Capital. Remember Jimmy Valley? And the confidential committee crew? Remember that? Those people that were, they wrote up a plan, and I don't know if it was ever actually put in place, but they actually wrote up a plan, and it did leak out, that they were going to pay their committee members to convince XRP holders to effectively hand over the keys to their crypto, which is to say, stop taking possession of their own XRP and then put it into a separate account held by a third party, and then that was going to be part of a some sort of buyback program. Since the SEC v. Ripple case hadn't been concluded. And it's a whole convoluted thing, and I don't want to get too into the weeds for the purposes in this video, but those are the people that were trying to get XRP holders for a commission, basically, to stop holding their XRP. Those are the people that are propagating this nonsense. $4,813. They're putting that at, and we're supposed to take this seriously? It's just offensive on its face. These people are snakes. Please don't fall for this. This is complete and utter garbage. Now, there's so many reasons to be optimistic for the future of XRP. I personally do believe that XRP can be worth a fortune compared to where it is today, including this market cycle. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I have my suspicions, and maybe my suspicions are wrong, but I think that we're going to have much higher prices before this market cycle is over. That's my for fun guess. I don't make price predictions. I'm just not in that game. But I will not be surprised if XRP hits a new all-time high and it enters price discovery and melts faces. In fact, I think that there's a really good chance that actually could happen. This market, as long as the market's going to expand, it's silly to think that XRP is not going to be a part of it. It hasn't been so primed since 2017. To me, that couldn't be obvious. And I've been talking about that in a lot of different videos here. You don't need this crazy crap here, folks. You don't need the thousands of dollars of XRP. Like, you just... And if you try and hold on that long, my God, good luck, because it ain't happening. I mean, unless you want to talk about hyperinflation, but that's not what people are talking about. When people say it's going to be $4,813, they're talking about in terms of the purchasing power today in 2024. They're not saying if there's a hyperinflation and then $4,813 is what a loaf of bread costs. That's not what they're saying. This is nonsense. And anytime I see this crap, like, I feel the strong impulse to highlight just how absurd it is, because I hate, like, on X, it's like Frecky was talking about the retailers, how they're ridiculous on X and the sentiment's nonsense. I see this type of stuff shared on X and it gets an insane number of reposts, an insane number. Why are people propagating this? Do all of them not know better, or do some of them know better and they just want it to be true, so they're not thinking about it much? They're like, yeah, that'd be great, woo, and then they're repost. I don't know. But I don't want to propagate this stuff. I want to tear it down because there's bad ideas. Now, people should be able to say whatever they want, but that includes me. I should be able to say what I want too, and I say this is garbage. And I would like it if people would stop saying garbage. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion too, aren't I? Because I sure as hell do. Stop saying this crap. It really grinds my gears, folks. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.